aboard! All aboard! Ah, well, hello there. So, you're getting on this train, huh? You know, I've been conducting this train for a good couple of years now. Been through a lot with her. I remember the "I got nothing up my butt" incident back in 2019. There was also the Florida man who threw a Bible at a police officer. Oh, and don't get me started about the year 2020. Oh, boy. So listen, if you're new here, I gotta read this this piece of paper for you. It's sort of a legal thing, you know. Here we go. Warning. The following show may feature some adult language and adult scenarios that are not suitable for those under the age of 18 to 21 years old. If you are under this age, please consult your parents and or legal guardians for permission to listen to this show. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Well, with that out of the way, will you still be getting on? Excellent. Well, let me just punch your ticket for you. And welcome to Trademark's Trainwreck.
It's unstuck! It's unstuck! Totally unstuck.
Good evening, passengers, and welcome to tonight's episode of Trademark's Trainwreck, a show featured on Celestia Radio, all fandom all the time. The man who is commenting on things being unstuck is RandomGreymane.
It's unstuck! I can get my parts from Botswana again. Not that I've ordered anything from Botswana.
Greymane is, of course, referring to the huge rigmarole that was the incident in the Suez Canal. And I apologize if I mispronounced that. Suez. My apologies.
Suez. That's okay.
So I'm sure everyone and their grandmother knows about this already, which was one of a few reasons why I didn't comment on this during previous episodes of the Trainwreck. But, for those who don't know, there was a blockage of Egypt's Suez Canal by a giant container ship called the Evergreen, or the Evergiven.
Evergiven.
Evergiven. My apologies.
Evergreen is the company that's getting a lot of shit, and rightly they actually shouldn't. And here's something that I found out. It turns out that if you send things down the Suez Canal, okay, you're not allowed to pilot the ship while it's going through the canal. You have to rent a pilot. Okay, so the pilot that got the ship stuck, okay, was not, was not the normal pilot that would be doing that for that boat. Okay, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, the pilot fucked up." Well, yeah, the pilot did fuck up, but it was not the pilot of the boat. It was the rent-a-pilot.
Rent-a-pilot who apparently drew a penis with his trajectory.
You know what? I saw that and I'm like, I don't know if that's accidental or what, what that is.
What is that? It's just like, part of my brain is just like, well, of course he drew it on purpose. But another part of me is just like, no, it's piloting a ship, not drawing dicks in the sand.
You know, I honestly, he would have had to have been pretty drunk to be able to draw that with a container ship.
Right?
Um, well, I keep seeing people who don't know, who don't understand the scale of these things. Okay, and
Oh,
you show them that like they have this backhoe working in the sand next to the container ship, and when you pull out on that picture, it's the backhoe is this tiny speck. Okay, compared to the size of this thing, they're
yeah.
several stories tall.
Yeah, this thing
Um,
is 400 meters long, and it can carry a gross tonnage of 219,076 tons.
yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so this thing is a big fucking ship. So it was a problem. They even at one point did that thing that the government and people do when the grown-ups don't know what to do. They talk to kids and go, "Well, little Billy, what would you do to get a big ass ship out of the canal?" "I
You
don't
know,
fucking
and
know. I'm 5 years old.
you
What do
know,
you expect me to say?"
the funny thing is that's an evil overlord rule.
Yeah.
If you remember the evil overlord rules, there's one that says very clearly, one of my advisors will be a 5-year-old child, and if my plan can be, if faults can be found in my plan by a 5-year-old child, I will rewrite my plan, and that's one of the evil overlord rules. Okay, so
This is fair. Like this is the same policy where marketing should have kids look at whatever they're advertising, and if the kid laughs and thinks that there's a dirty joke in there, you rewrite that shit.
yep,
So don't get me wrong, it's a cool idea that they're implementing a child's imagination to the situation, but like I don't know if it helped or not.
it probably didn't.
It probably
So
didn't. And
it took the Dutch. It took the Dutch to get it to solve it. Um, that was that was who owned the group of ships that sorted it out.
so
It
let's
was the Dutch.
see. How much did the blockage cost? I'm looking at this through the BBC.
Oh God, it delayed a ton of shit. There's shit that's sailing around Cape Horn, okay, which is like a really dangerous trip. Even
Yeah,
even though we're coming into spring and summer, and
yeah, and the only other way to get this thing from Rotterdam in the Netherlands or to Kaohsiung, Taiwan, and I apologize if I mispronounced that. You would have to go around the Cape of Good Hope,
oh, there we go, Cape of Good Hope.
as
I
in
was saying Cape Horn.
let's hope that we can make it on time.
Yeah,
Because
pretty much.
here's the difference. It takes you about 26 days to get from point A to point B using the Suez Canal.
and this is yeah.
It takes 34 if you go around the Cape of Good Hope.
This is exactly why the canal in question was created. So
Yeah.
this was no longer the issue. But no, it's it we you know everybody's going, oh, we do this and we do that, and it's and all this stuff is delayed, and I'm like, well, that's not the end of it. You're going to see rising gas costs, okay, because it
Yeah.
delayed crude oil,
Yeah.
and all this other fun stuff. It's just insane.
Whee! Yep. By the way, here's a fun fact. If you Google the Suez Canal, or the Suez Canal, I apologize, you get a nice little animation of a little boat in the Google search.
Nice, sweet.
I don't know why Google did that, but there you go. I guess it's to celebrate that the boat is free, because yes. How did the boat get free, actually? Let's look at that before we move on to the obligatory spiel.
Yeah, I don't know the complete details. I know it was the Dutch that did it. I know it was a pair of Dutch ships, I think, or a team of Dutch people.
Let's see. 5 days after wedging itself sideways into the banks of one of the world's busiest waterways, it's been freed 2 days ago as of this recording. Teams of dredgers and tugboats were able to free the ship's stern on Sunday, moving 330 feet from the western bank. Let's see if we can get a more complete account. They removed 30,000 cubic meters of sand, enough to fill about a dozen Olympic-sized swimming pools.
Yep.
The ship's as tall as a skyscraper and is comparable to the Empire State Building.
Yep.
Fucking Christ. Okay, let's get to the part where they talk about how they got it freed. Oh. Okay, so they had dredger pumps removing sediments from the bottom of the canal. And it looks like that they had tugboats. I believe they are pushing it.
Okay. So what they basically did is they dredged underneath the keel of the boat, underneath the hull, and pushed at the same time. And the more stuff they dredged out of the bottom of that, the better it was able to move.
Yes.
So that's how they did it. They basically unburied and pushed at the same time.
Yeah.
So
they basically dug underneath and had the tugboats push and pull this thing out.
Yep. Nice.
So
good work. That was both, if I remember correctly, it was mainly the Dutch, but it was also the Egyptian team as well that did that work. So kudos on them.
Yeah, kudos to them.
I just figured out something I could ship from Botswana.
Jesus.
Well, do you watch Top Gear?
No, never have.
Oh, okay. British car show Top Gear. One of their first specials was a trip of used cars across the Botswana salt flats, among other things, or across Botswana, and they left the cars there. Okay, because why? Well, 2 out of the 3 cars were left there. The third car went home with Richard Hammond. Oliver is quite safe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because he named it Oliver, and he got no end of shit from Clarkson and May about that. But the other 2 cars were left there in Botswana, and somebody just found them like in the last 4 or 5 months. Somebody actually found the cars, and they were in they were left in pretty much in the condition they were left there. So you could you could ship the Top Gear things back from Botswana. So there.
Well,
once again, I am the master of pointless information.
Yes. I mean, we both kind of are. You have pointless information about cars. I have pointless information about Transformers. And on that note, I think it's time that we start off this show proper by distributing useless information about, well, mostly useless people. Useless people doing useless things. So welcome once again to Trademark's Trainwreck, ladies and gentlemen. This is our dumb news podcast where we take a look at all kinds of dumb news that I've collected over the course of a week or so, and we just point and laugh at them. Welcome to the circus, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the circus. Roll up, everyone see the freak.
Where's my bread? Oh, wait, no, it's circus, not circuses.
Right. As you are probably aware of by now, unless you're new, after a musical interlude that is about to come up, we're going to take a look at the softcore material, which is all the low-level crimes. And after the softcore material, we take another music break, and then we cover the hardcore material. Nothing too intense. I might have let something slip last week, but meh, we go through some growing pains here. Anywho.
I spy with my little eye a fangirl.
Ah, yes. The fangirl just popped in, ladies and gentlemen.
I was trying to sneak in quietly.
Oh, you can never do that on this train. We are loud and proud.
This train rattles so much that's not possible.
Anywho, while we get ourselves comfortable, it's time for our first musical interlude of the night. So, Everyone get comfortable, get your libations, and we'll be right back with Trademark's Trainwreck here on Celestia Radio. I'll fan them all the time. Except when it's finally unstuck!
I mean, we didn't make a movie named Alien to be offensive to aliens, but then there's all this stuff with anal probes, I mean, what are we supposed to think?
Welcome back to Trademark's Trainwreck, featured on Celestia Radio. I'll fan them all the time. Except when it's, the tail end of a Doctor Who conversation. We're back, and
You think if we changed the title to Xenomorph, the aliens would be less offended?
And
no, probably not.
And there is Sherlock, who came in during the musical interlude. How are you tonight, Sherlock?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Well, it is time for us to start this week's episode. And we're starting off with a sequel again.
Uh-oh.
We've been having a lot of those recently. So, do y'all remember when someone stole a goddamn pine tree?
No, I must not have been here for that one.
Vaguely, I think.
What?
Y'all don't remember. Okay. So let me start from the top. This was in the pre-YouTube days. Last November, a rare 25-foot tall Algonquin pillar Swiss mountain pine tree near the University of Wisconsin Arboretum.
Arboretum.
Thank you, Arboretum. My apologies.
Arboretum.
It was cut down in the middle of the night. This thing, it's 25 feet tall. And the culprits also took off a 25-foot-long section from a compact white fir tree and left it behind. That was a total of $13,000 in damages.
Oh no, it's much more than that. That's the estimated cost.
Yeah, that's the estimate.
Tree laws are very strict in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Milwaukee being what they are, okay, it's a fairly conservative state about certain things, and trees for some reason are one of those things, and I've never understood it. It's one thing to protect the trees; it's another thing to have a law that your dog can't piss on any tree, because there are areas that do that.
Well, 3 college students cited for stealing rare pine tree.
Oh, they catch him?
They caught him.
Excellent.
After 4 months, they got him. They have solved the case.
4 months? I'm surprised the students didn't brag about it to everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
I really am.
Well, there's a reason for that, and we'll discuss that in just a minute. Let me just get the context. Authorities determined that the tree was stolen by 3 19-year-old university students who were pledging the former Chi Phi fraternity, which has lost its status as an official student organization in 2015 over allegations of hazing. Good.
Gee, you think?
They said the 3 students, identified as Cameron Cron, Cody... Oh my god. Knepprath. Neprath?
Oh. Neprath.
I'm just going to say Neprath, thank you. Also, Joshua Michaels. I'm just going to call him Michaels. They purchased a chainsaw and rented a U-Haul truck, which they used to cart away the tree, which was planted in 1988. Here's the bit that you were talking about, Sherlock. Here's why they didn't brag about it. When the students realized the outcry their theft caused, they destroyed it and dumped the tree outside city limits.
Yeah.
Well,
shit, what are we gonna do?
So they cut the tree down. They didn't uproot it. They didn't dig it up and steal it. They cut the tree down. So the tree was dead anyway.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with this.
this is the same reason why people like these stupid idiots will accidentally cause worse things to happen, and their reaction isn't fess up to it, explain that it was either an accident or a joke, or and then things just went wrong. Their first instinct is, oh my god, cover it up and pretend it didn't happen.
Yep. Cover the evidence.
The pervasiveness of toxic masculinity that came with the frats.
Yeah.
Yep.
Accountability? I can't be held accountable.
And the toxic femininity that comes with sororities.
Yeah.
I'm too important to be accountable. So their first instinct is hide it, pretend it didn't happen.
Yep.
Which they don't understand only gets them into more trouble. When you actually fess up to a crime, especially if it's a situation that was a complete pure accident, or that you intended to be like not a bad thing. In this case, you're chopping down a tree, you didn't realize how important it was, because you thought it would just be a joke. And suddenly it's not a joke. Instead of having accountability and fessing up to it and paying for your mistake, which would have probably gotten them off a lot lighter, they were like, fucking chop it to pieces and hide it.
Yeah, it reminds me of an old Robin Williams joke where he's talking about what it's like to do marijuana, and he's at the part where you're stoned on the freeway and suddenly you see red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. How patriotic! Shit, it's the police. Eat everything in the ashtray. Eat everything in the ashtray. You just cover the evidence, but you're making it worse. So, the three men were given a misdemeanor citation for removing the tree and will have to pay a $200 fine. The University of Wisconsin has not said if the students will face punishment for stealing the beloved tree.
Here's the problem.
This isn't over.
This isn't over. It doesn't just end with the $200 fine.
No, it doesn't.
For cutting and stealing for defacing public property. No, there's tree law now about to get involved. And if
there's tree law, but I do have a feeling that mommy and daddy helped. The parents of these little fuckwits probably tried to talk the university into doing something. However, the problem is, the university, while they might push it, there's still, again, like Fanny says, there's tree law to worry about, and tree law supersedes university. The only way I can see it is if the university appeals to the city council and says, oh, there's no need to get these boys in trouble. I mean, this would ruin their academic career.
You know what? That didn't work for a lot of people, so I don't want to ever hear that excuse.
When it comes to tree law especially, even the most fucking privileged of numdies, and I have seen plenty of r/tree law shit, and read it, viewed it, and heard of it to understand how this goes. When the people involved with tree law get really in there about it, they fine you hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars to somehow replace the tree.
Well, you're not replacing the tree. You're just giving financial compensation to the loss of such such valuable property, because unlike some other things that you can replace for the same monetary value that you steal or destroy, a tree takes hundreds of years to get to a certain spot. I mean, this thing was planted in the 80s, right? You said, Trey?
Yeah, 80s.
1988.
88, that would be it's almost 40 years old.
Mm.
Yep. And it's going to take that long to grow a new one.
Yep.
So
the funny thing
is, and also there's also the damage to the other tree they did.
Yes, that is
true. Here's the other thing, though, that I was just thinking, is that if by any chance they had scholarships, okay, there's a good chance that those scholarships would be gone due to conduct.
Oh yeah, okay? That's the thing. That's the thing. If they're there solely on scholarship and not mom and dad's money, then their academic careers are over. If there's money behind them, then they can still keep going to school. I mean,
but if they're there because somebody else fitted the bill, all those people who did that are going to be suddenly saying, "Oh, you defaced public property, you stole, you hid your stuff." No.
what happens if they're there on like a student loan? Okay, does the student loan have any provisions for conduct? So
I don't. I don't know about that. It depends on the state's law, but yeah, unless it's
Scholarships are
mommy and
gonna be
daddy footing the bill, which that most frat boys have that happening. It's more than likely these kids' academic careers are ended at this school. They'll have to go to community college.
The funny thing is, y'all were talking about tree law, and all I can picture is like a fucking tree ant bursting into the office and just like, "Thou hast
I am the tree law. I am the tree law.
Thou
No, it's
hast
gotta be
committed
slower than that. It's gotta be
crimes
slower than
against
that.
our kind."
Well, not
No,
quite.
don't be hasty, Your Honor. I object.
No, that's more like it. Shirley's has got it right.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'll keep an
I
eye
was
on.
I was going for the Evil Dead trees.
Same.
Um,
I'll keep an eye on this particular article and see if there's any update as to what kind of punishment is coming to these, to dumber and dumbest here.
why did the police drop us off in this cabin and say to go next to this one tree? Why did they tell us to do that?
Moving on.
Moving on.
Oh boy. So, let's see. What's the right word? I'm trying to remember a fucking right word. Home remedy, I believe. Yeah, home remedy. Homeopathic remedies. We
Well,
all know
okay,
about
there's
them. Some are more effective than others.
I would also like to say there's a difference between homeopathic medicine and home remedies.
Correct.
This is true,
A
but
big difference.
either way, the
Because
point.
homeopathic medicine is like quack science.
This is true. Either way, the point stands. Some methods are more effective than others. I don't think this is one of the effective ones.
Uh-oh.
Louisianan claimed meth stash was salt to treat his ingrown toenail.
okay, I gotta give him props for that. That is a good, decent excuse.
That's
I
a
gotta give him
creative
props.
answer. That
It
is
is
a creative
creative.
and
answer.
I
I'll live
will-
with that. That's good.
I will attest that salt is a good thing for certain occasions. It's a good face scrub. It's good for making wounds heal up faster, so long as you don't mind the sting. So
If you take a mixture of salt and baking soda and you put it on a splinter that's too deep in your finger, it'll make your skin shrivel in just enough, and the splinter seep out just enough that you can get it out with a pair of tweezers.
Oh, there you go. But yeah,
And there is logic in saying that salt is good for foot fungus because that's what you have foot baths in. You put like a Epsom salt in a pot of hot water and you stick your feet in it.
correct.
So clever excuse. I'll give it
Points for
that.
creativity.
However,
However, that's not the reality we live in.
Nope.
So,
And one thing I should mention: methamphetamine is a type of salt.
yes, but I don't think he was using it for a toenail.
no. Let's find out what happened here.
Let's continue on here.
This happened March 30th.
And before this takes place in Florida.
I literally said Louisianan.
Oh,
Yeah. This is a Louisiana situation, fellas. We're going into the bayou.
Mm-hmm.
His mouth's not open, so I can't tell from his teeth. Okay.
This happened on March 31st, today as of this recording.
He's got the bangs.
When Louisiana cops yesterday, on the 30th, found a clear crystal-like substance inside a plastic Walmart bag in his pocket, John Combs did not, like most suspects, claim it was a laxative or a sugar and cornstarch to use in baking a cake. Both of which we've covered on this show before.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, the 47-year-old Combs explained to police that the substance was, quote, salt which he had to treat an ingrown toenail. Turns out it was meth. After spotting...
I mean, if you're treating your toenail with meth, okay, directly, I don't know how that's going to work, but
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not sure how it would work. I mean, again, it is assault, so...
Quick call to Mythbusters. Get him out of retirement. Can meth
like you to
fix your
test some
ingrown
meth for us.
toenail?
Adam Savage is rolling his eyes as we speak.
Yeah, probably. So after spotting Combs, who was carrying a large wooden stick, walking in the middle of a West Monroe roadway around 4:25 a.m. on that Tuesday, a cop asked Combs to put down the stick and then, quote, patted him down for any possible weapons. During the frisk, Combs repeatedly sought to keep the patrolman from searching a pants pocket which held the crystalline substance. While home remedies for an ingrown toenail can include soaking the foot in a warm Epsom salt bath, the cop examined Combs' purported salt, identified the substance as meth. Combs was arrested for possession of a controlled dangerous substance. He was booked into the Ouachita Parish Jail on the felony charge.
Louisiana's a
There you
weird
go.
state.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, here's the thing. Louisiana doesn't have, like, counties or... it doesn't have the same... It doesn't, like, follow a lot of the same rules as the rest of the United States. Because, like, for example, most places have counties. Louisiana has parishes.
What even is a parish?
Basically the same thing as a county, but it's French.
Pretty much.
Okay. So apparently Louisiana...
The rest of the
apparently Louisiana
the rest
is
of the
fancy.
country follows... The rest of the country is based on... Most of their laws are based off of the Commonwealth laws from England. Louisiana is based off Napoleonic laws.
Alrighty then.
Which explains why there was no way in heck for my friend to get any progress on seeing his kid in Louisiana. He had to move out of state and then pursue that because they basically just told him, nope, mom says no, and he left with like a duffel bag of his stuff and that's it. So yeah, he did eventually get the thing sorted out, but there was no way under that particular legal venue that he was going to be treated fairly.
Yeah, Louisiana is kind of notorious for listening to the woman only.
Correct.
But yeah, back to the point. Again, points for creativity. It would have been believable. But this is another case of, if you're going to have something illegal that's bound to be found by police, just say what it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're not going to block the cop from searching a particular pocket. You're not going to do that.
And you're not going to stop their tools from identifying what the thing is. Like, as soon as the police catches you, just turn out your pockets, tell them what it is, and put your hands out to get the handcuffs on, because you're through. You're done, son. Done like Christmas turkey.
Now, I'm not saying that what the guy did wasn't illegal. It is illegal, but I'm still kind of wondering, since I'm looking through this article, there's no probable cause stop for the cop to say, hey.
He was walking in the middle of a West Monroe roadway with a large wooden stick.
Now that is a misleading statement. Okay.
That doesn't connotate that he was doing anything illegal.
Correct.
What he could have been doing is crossing the street. And just because he has a stick isn't probable cause.
Yeah, everybody walks with a walking stick if you do any long walking. You just do that, unless you're one of those heel-toe sprinter kind of idiots that I hate.
This all could be true. So maybe this was a case of profiling.
I mean, it's Louisiana and the guy's black.
So yeah, there might be something.
Let's just say there's some potential reasonable doubt in this article.
And again, not saying that what the guy did wasn't illegal. Yes, you're in possession of meth. You need to get charged with possession of a dangerous substance. But why was he stopped to begin with?
This is true.
That's all I'm asking.
It's a 4 a.m. Terry stop is what it is. And a Terry stop doesn't most of the time it doesn't warrant a search. I gotta wonder, was the guy asked for ID? Did he have ID? What sort of stuff was going on at 4:25 in the morning?
Yeah. On top of
So-
that, if the cop said, "Oh, my probable cause is that he was walking in the middle, he crossed the street illegally, and he had a big stick with him, so I searched him for weapons." I'm like, so the stick wasn't the weapon then?
Yeah, exactly.
Or were you searching for, quote, additional weapons? Because he didn't say that.
This is true. Yeah, there is some reasonable doubt for this one.
Yeah, there is some reasonable doubt in this one, especially due to location.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, let's move on to our next article, which has more drugs. Well,
yay, more drugs.
quote unquote drugs. This happened on
Okay.
this happened on March 29th, 2021. Note to all criminals: if you're gonna target a store, target the right one. Especially if you're gonna slam your car into it.
Oh god.
Man trying to rob weed store slams car into wrong shop. Oops.
Accidental. Yay.
Hey Siri,
That's hilarious.
hey Siri, how do I get to the store that
Yeah,
I
he was-
hate?
He was following Apple Maps.
In a
Yeah,
quarter
that's
mile,
right.
gun it.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay.
If you hit the wrong store while trying to steal from the weed store, you've had too much weed already.
Yeah, like,
So,
especially if you're trying to rob a weed store. Like, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Most weed stores are fucking bright green. How do you miss a bright green store?
there's a fair amount of truth to that. Yes.
Anywho.
To be honest, he could seriously just be like one of those stoners who is just really badly affected by it. Now they're rare, but I've met them.
Yeah, there aren't that many. There aren't that many because it's a build up thing. Once it builds up into their system, then they get affected. But some people, it doesn't clear the system as fast as it builds up. And therefore they get stoned more.
Anywho, let's get the context. Meet John Little, everybody. Some burglaries are so bungled, one is led to imagine that the poorly motivated robber had enough of the targeted loot already. Certainly, one suspects that an Oklahoma man who made a serious miscalculation last week while trying to rob a marijuana store may have already enjoyed a reefer or two before enacting his plan. John Little somehow managed to slam his car into a shoe repair business Wednesday night, only to later admit he'd meant to ram and rob the marijuana store next door, according to police.
Don't admit it. You don't admit it. That's where he really fucked up. He admitted it.
The 25-year-old was arrested at the scene after investigators say he intentionally drove into the Herrera Leather Works in the northwest Oklahoma City. Little then allegedly told cops he was targeting the weed store next door, but missed and instead smashed into the shoe repair business. He made some statements to officers after the fact that he had intended to burglarize the neighboring business, which is a smoke shop. Oklahoma City Police Lieutenant Isaac Goodman told the news outlet. Little used his car like a battering ram, reversing at full speed and crashing through the glass storefront, according to police. No one was inside at the time, and Little was uninjured. He was booked into the Oklahoma County Jail on charges of second-degree burglary and 2 counts of malicious injury to property.
Hey, Oklahoma City, your government site, stop using Flash.
Did you Google Oklahoma City to check out something, and they're using Flash?
No. There's a link in the article that says arrest record show, and I popped up the arrest record to see exactly what was going on, and it came up and this site uses Flash, blah 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 blah. I'm like, I had to allow Flash to play, which is obsoleted.
I don't know what you're seeing. I clicked Arrest Record Show, and I got the PDF for the Oklahoma City jail blotter.
Yeah, it wouldn't because I block Flash and I block like ad sites and crap. Until I allowed that, it wouldn't come up. Why do I have like if this is 7 pages though? This is their whole blotter.
Yeah, this is the whole blotter. Okay. This has more than like, just this incident right here. I thought that this was all one guy for a second. I'm just like, one guy did all this.
Right, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my god.
This guy's a criminal mastermind. No, it's just a bunch of other idiots.
If he were a criminal mastermind, he would have run into the building, cut a line on his head, and lay there, okay, until somebody arrived. Yes, people, yes, but you know what? You can go ahead and not blame me for that one. Go watch the movie The Saint from the 90s. Okay? But yes, that's what he should have done. He shouldn't have said anything to police. He should have just lay there, okay, with like a wound on his head or even battered, and not said anything. Oh, just driving and saw on the wall, And he never ever would have been arrested. He just would have had to go to the hospital and gotten a property damage thing.
This is the man who missed his target. I don't think he would be smart enough to do that, regardless of whether or not he actually made the target.
Correct. Right. Right. Yeah. He missed his target. Okay. So we know that he's not the brightest bulb.
No.
All right. So John, malicious injury to property, burglar, second degree, $5,000 bond.
Yep.
Okay.
Stay on target. Ay. One last article for the softcore material. Well, this is a special one for the softcore material. This is amazingly stupid. Like, this is worthy of being a movie levels of stupid. Now, I don't know much about the Mafia. I know that they're bad people. I know they do bad things. I know they manage to weasel their way out of punishment wherever they can. I know that when they want to hide, they do it effectively. Except this guy. March 30th. Mafia fugitive busted after cops saw, wait for it, his YouTube cooking show.
Yep, I heard it.
Oh my god. Seriously, man? Seriously? What are you thinking?
He was on the run in the Caribbean, if I recall correctly.
I think so. Yeah. He was in the Caribbean.
And the authorities saw his YouTube channel that he was basically it's an Italian cooking show on YouTube. Authorities saw it and they asked the police down in that area to go pick him up.
Dude, the egotism, because that's what this is.
I don't know. It might have been the pandemic, the lockdown. I mean, that'll drive anyone crazy.
The egotism of honestly, this just screams of somebody who's like, oh, they can't catch me down here.
What are they gonna do? Arrest me?
What are they gonna do? Arrest me? I'm just cooking.
You know who this guy reminds me of? Mm-hmm. He reminds me of our Call of Duty friend.
Oh yeah, from last week.
who got yanked because he went out to buy Call of Duty.
Yeah, just after he escaped from jail.
Just after he escaped from jail. I'm like, does the term low profile not mean anything to anyone?
Okay.
Keep a low profile. Oh, can I go to the movies? No.
Okay.
I want to go to the movies.
Can I have a cooking show? No.
So,
I really like the profile.
Let me get the context, everybody. Let me get the context. For the past 7 years, officials in Italy have been trying to locate Mark Ferrin Claude Biart. I apologize if I mispronounced any of that. Who is allegedly a member of the powerful I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because people would probably kill me. Or make me vanish, rather.
They're not going to care, Trade.
I know, I'm
I
taking
can't even-
the
you know what? I can't
piss.
even
It's
pronounce
called
that.
it's called a joke. You know, crime mafia. Anyway,
It's not
it's
even a
a
joke, I
crime
can't
syndicate
pronounce it.
based in Europe. And I'll put the name somewhere on the screen, probably. Bjart was wanted for allegedly smuggling cocaine into the Netherlands in 2014 for the Caciola? I don't care. It's a clan of the Mafia. Bjart fled to Costa Rica and then made his way to the Dominican Republic, where police said the 53-year-old had been living for the last 5 years. During this time, he lived a mostly quiet life, doing his best to avoid locals and tourists. While Bjart did his best to avoid people, he couldn't resist sharing his love of Italian cooking to the world.
He clearly failed.
He decided to start a cooking show on YouTube with his wife.
You know,
That
either this guy's thinking, oh, the statute of limitations up, you know, or whatever the French version of that is, you know, or he's like, well, it's been so long, they're no longer looking for me, you know. Either way, it's just stupid.
Yeah. Oh, so this turned out to be his downfall as authorities came across the videos. Die. While Bjart was careful to cover his face, he failed to hide his tattoos. Okay, so he at least tried. He tried to cover his face, but he couldn't hide his fucking tattoos, which investigators spotted and used to identify him. Die. Officials did not provide details about Bjart's tattoos and did not say how long he had been posting cooking videos on YouTube. He was taken into custody in Boca Chica last week and extradited back to Italy, where he will face charges for drug smuggling. And no,
All right,
I
I figured
don't
out
know
how to
what his YouTube channel is, so...
I figured out how to pronounce it, guys.
Okay, hit me.
The Ndrangheta Mafia.
Ndrangheta. Okay.
Gesundheit.
So yes, it was the Ndrangheta Mafia. This.
They are oldish organized crime group started in the 19th century. Although the first official report was in 1792. Let's see. They're in the Naples area or Calabria area of Italy, which is it's on the boot right next to Sicily, which makes loads of sense. Basically, they're one of the few smaller crime syndicate families that runs drugs for the Sicilian Mafia. The Sicilian Mafia does not like to touch drugs itself, so they get other families to not be associated with them to do it.
Yeah. Here's a fun fact. Apparently, the...
Ndrangheta.
Thank you. They have apparently surpassed Sicily's Cosa Nostra as Italy's biggest mafia organization.
Yeah, they say that.
They say that, yeah.
Every mafia is going to say that.
It apparently...
Fun fact,
this
everyone in the world is looking for his channel, by the way.
Well, yes. I don't have that information on me, so if you want to look for it, if YouTube hasn't fucking nuked that shit, then just, you know.
Yeah, there's already a bunch of people still trying to find it or find an archive of it.
Yeah. But yeah, this... Oh, man. Oh, this is so stupid. This is something
Silly.
out of a fucking, like an Adam Sandler movie or some shit. Like, what would be the title of that? Cooking with the Mafia. No, that's bland.
Well, it's an Adam Sandler movie, so that sounds about right.
Fair enough. Just, oh my god.
Mob Chef.
Mob Chef. Perfect.
Yes.
That'll do. Mob Chef. Oh, just... I don't have any further comment. This is just so fucking stupid. There's a part of my brain that refuses to believe this is real. Like, there's no way a guy in the Mafia would be this fucking stupid. And granted, as I said, he tried. He tried to keep his face hidden. So point to him. But I have to take away that point because he failed to cover his tattoos. Like, that's in the database. You've been arrested before. You're in the Mafia. That kind of comes with the territory.
The thing is, it depends on the tattoo. Some tattoos can be easily covered up with, like, just t-shirts and shit like that. But, like, if you have sleeves, like full-on tattoo sleeves on your arms, you need either long sleeves, or if you have some on your hands, they make gloves and special cover-up sleeves for your tattoos that don't involve wearing long sleeve shirts all year round. I should know. I have worked with plenty of people who cover up their tattoos for work reasons.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That gets a little bit difficult when you do a cooking show. I should know. I'm a prep cook. Hi. Wearing long sleeves when you're doing prep cook, it's tricky.
Because you get it, because they drag and they get everywhere.
They drag, they get caught on shit, there's the potential for them to get on fire if you're really stupid. A lot of shit can go wrong if you're wearing an improper uniform. So wearing long sleeves while you're cooking on a YouTube cooking show, little complicated. So
well, he could have worn like an Under Armour and
like neoprene.
Under Armour, yeah, that could have worked. But otherwise,
as for the hands, he could have just worn like
he could have just worn gloves,
black neoprene gloves,
or the chef gloves. The chef gloves that are like immune to knife.
Yeah, the cutting gloves.
The cutting gloves.
He could have just worn cutting gloves.
Yeah, and otherwise he could have just worn opaque gloves and left a note on the screen or said, like, don't forget about cross-contamination, wear gloves to avoid that.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Yeah, easy peasy to hide your hide arm and hand tattoos. No, what if did it say which tattoos were exposed? Because if he had like a neck tattoo, that's a little harder to cover up.
He hid his face, so the neck tattoo wouldn't have been.
Yeah, it was probably like a downward view, but either way.
The point is, there's ways to cover that shit up. There's ways to keep them from seeing your arm and leg and whatnot. Like, come on.
Yeah, this was just a little bit of like arrogance. That's all it was. Yep. Although I'm kind of curious as to what the organized crime units in the Italian police was doing, watching cooking videos on YouTube from Puerto Rico or like wherever he
Costa
was.
Rica. Oh man,
that's a good point. It could have been somebody else fingering him,
maybe,
so to speak. You know what I mean? It could
have
been somebody that basically had a grudge with him and said, "Oh, you little fucker, I found you," and put a note into an anonymous tip and to
said, "You should check out this YouTube channel. I think you'll find it very interesting."
Yeah,
that's possible. Let me see if I can actually get more information from the attached article. Nope, no information. For all we know, someone could have pointed him out.
Or for all we know, one of the cops might have actually been a YouTube follower and been like, "Wait a minute!"
Duh.
It's like, hang on, those tattoos look familiar.
Wait a minute. Oh man, just... wow. Well, that is the end of the softcore material. So it's time for us to go on a quick break. Any words of wisdom before we proceed, ladies and gentlemen?
Don't make a YouTube if you're a mafia man in hiding, don't make a fucking YouTube channel, even if you're bored.
Yeah.
And if you do have tattoos and you're a cook, there are ways to cover them up. That is not an excuse.
Mm-hmm. Because your mafia friends aren't going to save your ass when the fucking mafia boss goes, "So how did he get arrested?" He made a YouTube cooking show.
They found his YouTube channel. He was cooking. He was making Italian recipes, and they recognized his tattoos.
You know what? After listening to the three of you figure out exactly how he could have avoided this, okay, and me as well, I'm not going to take any more shit about telling people how to do crime. Okay, so
You come up with ways.
You come up with the most obscure and
get
abstract
away with
ways to do it,
murder.
just off the cuff, and yet you tell people how to get away with murder. And on that note, we're gonna.
all I'm saying is that GE Diesel, okay, the people that do the diesel electric trains, has a giant vat of acid. That's all I'm saying.
And on that note, we're gonna be right back, folks, with this episode of Trademark's Trainwreck, a show featured on Celestia Radio, all Phantom all the time. Except when it's
Vats of acid.
Vats of acid, sure.
What do you mean there's a knock on my door? What? Well, tell him to go away. No, I don't care. No, I don't care if he says he's an inspector. Tell him to go away.
Well, while Greymane deals with that, welcome back, everyone, to Trademark's Trainwreck, a show featured on Celestia Radio, all Phantom all the time. It's time to start the hardcore material. This is where all the special little people who are going to a special little place in hell belong.
Just put him in a stateroom. I don't want to talk to him. Sorry.
I have hand baskets made for them to take down into the depths.
Reserved for child molesters and people who talk in the theater.
Yes. Right, so.
I just saw that scene the other day.
Anywho, I remember the good old days when I was in school, and I say the good old days with a fucking quotation mark around it.
Aren't you still in school?
I'm in college, but I'm not in high school. But in either case.
Stone tablets were heavy. That's all I'll say.
Jesus. I remember back in the day, like, and even currently still, my mother is very protective of me, always checking in on me, especially during my high school days. I remember one particular instant when I was walking home from the bus stop, and my mother was actually behind the bus. She was on her way to check in at an office at another school because my mother works in the school district. While I was yeah. So I waved at her, and while I waved at her, someone in the bus that I had just got off threw a piece of paper at me, like crumpled paper. I paid it no mind. I was just like, fucking high school kids. The next day, my mother said that she had found and confronted that person.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I personally think that that's a crock of shit, but that tells you some of the fucking, some of the effort that mothers will take to protect their child or to reclaim their besmirched honor. Case in point. Mom shows up to school wearing boxing glove to fight daughter's classmate.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
No, hon, no. Now you're assaulting a minor. No.
Yes, that is a fault of a minor. It doesn't matter that they're a brat who bullied your kid. No, you don't get physical on your child's behalf if you have
even if it's possible that the kid deserves a good ass whooping.
So
you don't do that. You go to their mom and dad, and you talk to them and urge them to do some proper parenting. And if they don't do some proper parenting, tell them, if your kid hurts my kid again, I'm going to get a effing restraining order.
I have a story.
Oh boy.
Well, let's hear the article.
Yeah,
first.
let's do the article first. This happened March 25th, 2021. If you must fight your kids' battles for them, make an effort to look the part. Or at least that seems to be the philosophy of a Florida woman who showed up.
Florida woman.
Finally, we got there in the end. She showed up to a school meeting about her daughter's unruly behavior wearing a boxing glove, only to then allegedly help the teen beat up another student on her way out. Edith Riddle, 34, of Jacksonville, was arrested on a child abuse charge for her alleged role in the fight.
Jacksonville.
Of course.
Never been to Jacksonville. I get the feeling that that's a good thing.
Okay, so
Basic
real quick before we finish up,
terms.
Trade.
Basic terms.
So, and I'm sorry, Fanny, this is going to be a little insulting, but the northern Florida is also called southern Georgia.
No, it ain't.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. Trust me, it's not.
Don't fight the resident Georgian
a
on
good chunk
this.
of the rest of the country they call it that because there's more.
Don't make me get out the fire extinguisher, you two.
Because there's just this level of
You take that back.
Calm down, soul siblings. Calm down. Maybe we should
Fine.
resume.
I'll take it back, but the rest of the country won't.
Maybe we'll resume the rest of the article. This incident happened at the DuPont Middle School last Thursday. Riddle had turned up on campus that day for a meeting with her daughter and the vice principal about the girl's, quote, violent outbursts, so say the report. When the meeting finished, mom and daughter headed straight for the school cafeteria where the teen allegedly confronted another student. The school safety officer heard a frantic announcement over the school's radio system about a fight outside the cafeteria around noon. The officer arrived on the scene to find Riddle herself in a physical altercation with a female student. Witnesses told cops that Riddle's daughter had first pushed the girl to the ground and started punching her before Riddle allegedly joined in and began beating the victim. Christ.
Oh my god.
The family that beats together stays together.
Again, no.
Oh my god, did you have to use those words?
Just riddle me this. Riddle me this,
Riddle-
lady.
Really? Really? You're gonna go with riddle me this?
Yes, it was there. I
Okay.
took it. So, riddle me this. What made you think this was a good idea?
It wasn't. It's not.
No, it's
It's
not.
It never will be.
Bizarrely, the mom appeared to have come prepared for the impromptu bout. A bystander told authorities that she was wearing what looked like a boxing glove on her left hand. Riddle admitted to having the glove on when she showed up at the school, but claimed it was superglued to her wrist and couldn't be.
Oh my god.
What? What?
What?
What? I honestly gotta say, I've never heard that one.
What? I just superglued a boxing glove to my hand. I can't take it off. I don't see where the problem is. That's some fucking Looney Tunes shit.
What were you super gluing on a boxing glove? And you know,
Well, her wrist,
why are you
apparently.
wearing it? Why are you wearing it while the super glue is wet?
Fucking.
So, ancient story time. If you
Just-
covered the rest of the article.
Real quick, just
Go
some formalities. The victim suffered abrasions to her knees and forearms and later went to a hospital for a follow-up evaluation. Just an evaluation. She doesn't have any critical injuries. Riddle was taken into custody and charged with 1 count of child abuse with a personal or special weapon. I think we can subtract that a
You
little
mean
bit because
a
it's just
glove?
a boxing glove. The victim's parents told authorities they plan to pursue criminal charges against the would-be pugilist. Good. Now, ancient story time with RandomGreymane. Hit us.
Okay, so this is back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, and I was in high school, and we had just moved, and I was still finishing out my year or my junior year at the one high school, and but because we'd moved and because I wasn't able to change schools just yet, they I couldn't be bussed from where I was at. So my parents had to take me to school. It was my dad's turn to take me to school. We get there, and this shithead, this this pair of shitheads in a car, okay, because this was a rich person's school, and they cut us off for a parking spot, and my dad's like, grumble, and goes and parks, a little bit further down, and he's like, okay, we get out, and he's, because of the time frame, he has to walk me into school because it's, because I'm not being bussed and blah 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 blah. We get out of the van, and this punk, okay, from the car that cut us off, gets out of his car, and you want a piece of me? And my dad just stands there, looks at him. Okay, he just stands there and looks at him. And the guy, kept winding himself up, and he took a swing at my dad, and he, he tagged my dad. And my dad just stood there and looked at him, because my dad wore colors in the 60s in Chicago.
Ooh.
Okay, so you can go look that up. I don't remember which gang he was part of, but he wore colors for a motorcycle gang in Chicago. And so he's standing there, and the guy's like, "Well, what about now?" My dad just like stands there, and just looks at him. And the guy takes a second hit at him, hits him a second time. And by that time, my dad just, he had had enough. And I was paying attention to his face. His eyes glazed over. Okay, which I knew was I knew was something that happens to him every now and then when he was acting. And the kid comes up for a third punch, and my dad just wails him right in the solar plexus, right in the the midriff.
Oh God, he got him.
Oh.
Oh, he got him the forearm shiv in the. Oh, that's how Houdini died.
Yes.
And so my dad, pounds him one, and the kid goes flying. Okay, because, and the kid's like freaked. Okay, he's absolutely freaked that the old man took a punch at him.
I didn't expect the guy I punched twice to punch back.
Oh my God! And he literally he runs off whimpering. And I turn, and look at my dad, and I see his eyes clear, and he turns to me and says, "Go and get to school." And it was just such an iconic moment growing up to see that happen. Okay, nowadays you could never fucking get away with that.
No.
You would never ever be able to get away with that.
The closest you could get away with it was when I was in college, and granted we were all grown ass adults at this point, but still, this had a similar vein. When I was in college, and I was still kind of, in the. I wasn't a freshman, but I'd been there maybe like, I think I'd been there like 3 years at this point, and I was still in community college. Anyway, I was still off. I was twice the fangirl that I am now, shall we say? And
I'm twice the fangirl you are now. Let's just go with that.
Yeah. As far as size goes, and I was walking from one building to the other. So I was walking along, and lo and behold, some boys who had popped up. These were freshmen, but these boys who had popped up a handful of times in some of my favorite clubs came around, and they had been little dinguses before, made a couple of snide remarks about me and some of the other, plumper girls, while trying to flirt with the nerdy, skinny girls in the class, in the clubs, only to be ignored like the little douches that they were. Well, they're all piled up in their car, and as I'm walking, just trying to get to the student commons so I can wait for my dad to pick me up, because my car was not persona non grata at the time. They all leaned out the window and started singing "She's Too Fat for Me." So I whip out my phone.
Yeah, that's a song, sadly.
So I whip out my phone. I call my dad and I'm like, Dad, where are you? These guys are bothering me. Tell them exactly what's happening. 5 minutes later, my dad in his big pickup truck whips on into the back parking lot after he spots these guys doing their third circle around of this. And as soon as they saw him and saw me go up to his truck, because he parked right next to their car, 3 of them jump out of their car and they fucking gun it.
Shit.
While the main driver is still trying to get the fuck out of his seatbelt. And my daddy just slams his truck door, walks around, and he's like, so what's the big idea picking on my daughter? Aren't y'all grown-ass men? And you're picking on a grown-ass woman? And the guy's just, we weren't doing nothing. We were just singing a song. We weren't doing it. We were just goofing around. Please don't hit me. And of course he wasn't going to hit them. They were spineless and they were defenseless. Like what was he going to do? He doesn't do that. My dad wasn't the man to do that sort of thing. No, he just stood there and he just like, keep it. And all he said was, show her respect. She's older than you. Keep it that way. And then he turns to me and he says, "You ready to go get your car out from the mechanic?" I'm like, "Yes, Daddy." And I get in the fucking truck and get ready to go get my car, and we go home.
The lengths that parents will go to defend their children.
If I had a daughter and like there's some boy picking on her, I would find creative ways to deal with him that wouldn't implicate me in any fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I'd be the same way.
He didn't do anything except tell him, stop picking on my daughter. 1, you're adults, and 2, she's actually older than you. So yeah, it's people. We understand wanting to protect the kid, but what this woman did was leaps and bounds too far.
Yeah, I'm also curious about this because I'm confused. Was this woman's daughter being bullied and they decided to get revenge, or was her daughter being the bully? I'm really confused.
No, it sounds like her daughter was being bullied and they went in to get revenge. But
y'all being bullied, let's kick their ass. Just the lengths parents will go to. Parents, your children appreciate the effort, but please, don't commit a crime to help them.
Don't commit a crime to help them.
This is what you do to help them. Let them beat the shit out of each other, and then when the school board tries to blame your kid for it, tell them that they can go fuck themselves, and you'll see them in court.
Yes, because because in this day and age, there should be a no tolerance bullying situation going on everywhere, and if they're allowing it, that means they ain't no tolerance, and they're fucking it up.
Yep.
And typically, the kid who gets bullied and finally has enough and fights back is the one who gets in trouble, which is bullshit.
There's a million ways to get rid of a car.
For fuck's sake, Greymane.
Oh, okay.
Moving on. I've had an experience recently where a coworker of mine walked out on their job. I've had to cover their shift. Now, I understand that a person walks out or quits their job in the old-fashioned way, which is to tender a 2 weeks' notice. They do that for a variety of reasons. They find a better opportunity. They cannot stand the work environment. The list is endless. That being said, I think I can take a guess as to why this person left their job. Worker owed final paycheck finds 90,000 greasy pennies dumped on driveway.
Yep, I heard about this too.
Oh, wonderful.
Fucking dick move, this employer.
Yeah. This fucking guy. This happened March 26, 2021. A Georgia man said his former employer owed him a pretty penny, $915 to be exact, after leaving his job in November. But Andreas Flatten said he was shocked to see his final payment, 90,000 oil or grease covered pennies, at the end of his driveway earlier this month, so say the news outlets. Atop the pile was an envelope with Flatten's final pay stub and an explicit parting message. That message being, "Fuck you." "This is a childish thing to do," Flatten said. Yeah, no shit. Flatten said he left his job at Peachtree City's A.O.K. Walker Auto Works in November. That explains the oil or grease. He said he was owed the final paycheck and had difficulty getting it, even turning to the Georgia Department of Labor to receive help. In mid-March, Flatten said as he left his house with his girlfriend, he noticed the pile at the end of his driveway. He said the pennies were covered with some sort of oily substance. Now his nightly routine consists of cleaning the pennies so he can cash them in. He said it took him about an hour and a half to clean off several hundred.
Yeah, this is a dick move.
Here's the thing, though. There's two sides to this story. I want to know what this guy did.
Oh, I can tell you actually exactly what it is, because I've got more information on this, because I read about this earlier on an Imager post.
Oh, do tell.
And which actually told the full story about this.
Yes,
so
the dish.
Worker here, Mr. What was his name?
Mr. Flatten, yes.
Mr. Flatten was an auto mechanic, and he was treated like shit.
Yes, by one Miles Walker.
Yeah, Walker, the guy who owned A.O.K. Walker Auto, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, A.O.K. Walker Auto Works. He got constantly would constantly try and withhold his checks. He berated him, insulted him, pushed his employees too much. It was seriously it was a bad scene. This is a guy who thought that he could treat his employees any way he wanted. He treated them like dirt. And Flatten was not the only one who's talked about this, who's come forward and put up social media posts. For some reason, they're not talking about the rest of the employees who have left, who have made statements over social media. But this guy went to great lengths just to treat his employees like shit. And this is the first time that any of the new information is brought to light, because Flatten decided to go ahead and just post this and say, what a childish fucking thing. And I think the reason that you never saw any of this is because the majority of his workers never went to the labor board, to say, you need to get him to give me my final check. A lot of them probably said, I don't want the trouble, because this guy is a petty rich dickhead. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Walker is very much a rich, his daddy made the auto shop.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember reading about it. So, but there is some light. So basically, there is not really two sides to this. Flatten decided to walk out because he couldn't stand the treatment. It was just terrible harassment. So he just left. Yep. Though he still was owed his final check. And that was one of the reasons he had to leave. He's like, you haven't paid me. I need that check. But he decided to leave and get another job. But he still wasn't going to just let it go. He's like, I need my last check, so fork it over, ass.
And so,
but there's some good news about this.
Oh, do tell.
Yep. This perception got so bad that A.O.K. Walker is shut down.
Yay! Fuck you, Miles.
I remember in the post I was reading some more of the comments about this from Imager, and they were linking their sources, so they were good. That because this story broke, the Yelp reviews got so negative that the guy had to shutter his doors.
Good. Fucker. Hey, you know what? I'll give you a piece of advice after working my ass off in industries all over the fucking 30 years that I've been in IT. All right. if you're in a shitty job, okay, and you've gotten your hand on another one, all right, where you're hired, don't bother fucking leaving your notice. Okay?
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
right?
there's absolutely no
There's
law.
zero reason. And don't train your fucking replacement. Don't do any of that bullshit. Okay? Leave.
Yeah,
Yeah, just fucking go.
there's zero law, zero precedent that says you have to give a 2-week notice
Yep.
at all. Not one
Not
whatsoever.
one piece.
It's basically the whole thing about giving a 2-week notice is a courtesy that employees will give their bosses. That's it.
Yep.
And here's another thing. If you're afraid of leaving your job early without giving 2 weeks notice because you're worried that your boss will say something negative about you in a future for one of your future jobs, they're not allowed to. Legally, they cannot badmouth you to a future employer.
Yes, legally,
Mhm.
the extent of what they can say to a future employer would be something along the lines of so and so worked from this date to this date in our company, but they cannot say anything else. Or they essentially just bare bones, they worked for us for this time until this time, and
This
if
was
they
their
have
task. This was their task. This was their job.
this was their task, this was their department, this was their job and their title, and that's pretty much it. If they, if it, unless they have unless they're a good reference and it's something spectacular to say about
Yeah,
it.
you can talk about the positive stuff that your past employee did, but if you basically start disparaging your former employee and start talking shit about them, that's a labor law violation. You get your ass in trouble. So yeah,
Correct.
if you want to leave your abusive and horrible job and you've got another one lined up, walk out. You do not have to leave with notice. You do not have to put up with his bullshit. You do not have to do anything he says. You can just leave. So,
Mhm.
and if they try and like shit talk you to one of your future bosses, sue their ass. Go to the labor board.
Yeah, actually, you don't have to sue their ass. The labor board will do that. So what you basically do is you go to the labor board and say, hey, I think they're giving negative comments about me. Okay, instead of sticking to what the legal definition of the information they're supposed to be giving, and the labor board will look into it. Okay, to the point of actually having somebody call, and try and get the information out of them.
Oh
So,
right, boy, look at these weeds, they're so high.
yes. I'm sorry. Let's move on before
It's fine. That's
you know,
that
before
was
before
all.
we hit lawnmower level.
That was all good advice, but yes. Let's wind the clocks back and look at get back to the situation here. Let's look at what Miles said when he was interviewed about the situation before he had to shutter his doors. He spoke with the local news briefly, stating that he didn't know if he did or didn't drop the pennies off at Flatten's house. I really don't remember, Walker told the TV station. It doesn't matter he got paid, that's all that matters. He then went on to call Flatten a weenie. Because he's a petulant child.
You know,
I think Gray's allergic to bullshit.
pretty much.
He's a dad. Of course he's allergic to bullshit.
It's the fact that he stated it that way immediately shows what kind of person he is.
Exactly.
Okay. Yep.
So
yeah. So the TV station basically, if they aired that, that's where all his bad Yelp reviews came from.
mhm. So whatever became of the Flatten family? Well,
The Flattest family?
the Flatten family. He, Mr. Flatten, and his girlfriend Olivia Oxley. Olivia had this to say. With that many pennies, we're bound to find a few treasures. I've already found one from 1937. After the first shovelful, all we could do is laugh because this poor, miserable man took so much time to be vindictive and cruel. We absolutely refused to let him ruin a single moment of ours.
Good on them.
Good on them.
Absolutely good on them, yeah.
Next. Right. Well, we returned to school for a little bit because,
Oh my god, school!
this next article pisses me off. As the son of a mother who worked in the and continues to at the time of this recording, works in the county school, board or whatever.
District.
The school district, thank you. No, I can't even do a segue like that. This article pisses me off just from the title alone that I can't do a proper segue, so here we go, balls deep. Former Florida teacher guilty of mailing white powder to schools.
What?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ah!
We are back to fucking anthrax letters, ladies and gentlemen. Or at least fake anthrax letters.
Oh my god.
Tampa, Florida, on March 6, 2021. A Florida woman has pleaded guilty to mailing threatening letters containing white powder to elementary schools where she previously worked as a teacher. Maria Basilaro, 66, of Davenport, faces up to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty Thursday in Tampa federal court to 3 counts of making hoaxes that appear to involve a biological agent or toxin, according to court records. This was an event that happened in August and September of 2018, where Laro sent threatening letters to employees at 4 Central Florida elementary schools where she had previously worked as a teacher, so say the prosecution. All 4 contained a suspicious powder, and 3 included notes indicating they were punishment. Tests later showed it was baking soda.
That's still so freaking stupid.
It is. Laro had effectively been fired for poor performance from each of the schools. I wonder why! And each victim who received a note had played a role in her performance reviews or terminations.
Oh god. Of course.
So this is pettiness to the nth degree. That's been a theme with this fucking hardcore material segment this night. It's just fucking pettiness.
Yep. This girl should not have been a teacher.
No.
Sorry. Nope.
Laro admitted in her plea agreement that she had sent the mailings because she was upset and wanted the victims to believe they had been exposed to a deadly biological toxin.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking... You see why this pisses me off? Just like...
As someone who has been a teacher before, who has worked in schools, who's worked with kids,
Yes.
something that every school takes fucking super seriously is when they suspect that a biological agent or a disease has been loosed inside their fucking halls. If you're going to, and she knew this, which makes her an even bigger damn bitch. And I just can't stand that, because she could have not only did she imply there was a risk to the teachers, she also implied a possible risk to students. And that's not cool.
You know, one of the things that comes to stand out to me right here is she mailed all this stuff, and this tells me that our post office is not checking for shit, especially after it's been sabotaged like it recently has. So I gotta wonder, would this have succeeded even further, or less? Would it have succeeded less had they gone through like the automatic sorting machines, which bang things around and knock powder out of the corner of the envelopes?
Maybe.
Just...
So, I don't know.
Anger
management, bitch.
Anger management. You were a teacher. I think this
duty of care.
This fucking moment is evidence enough as to why you got terminated. Because if this is any indication, you are a petty, petulant woman who cannot take the blame for her own faults.
You are a piss poor adult, and you should not be teaching children about life lessons when you clearly cannot yourself adhere to them.
No.
Yeah, and you know what else is going on here? Is going to go on. Kids hear this shit, okay?
Yeah.
Because there's parents and teachers and crap talking in the offices, okay? And if you don't think that there isn't a kid with an ear, okay, in the school at that office, okay, that's gonna pass that on to other people, okay, you're dead wrong. And they're gonna say, "Oh, she was teacher blah blah blah," and the kid's gonna go, "I remember that teacher," and that's gonna spread throughout the entire fucking school.
And then it's going to
Okay.
spread to the other schools. And then it's
Right,
going to
it's gonna
spread
spread to the
across the
other schools.
county. And then you're going to be fucked.
It's going to even worse. It's going to spread to the teacher, or to that. Sorry, not to teachers. It's eventually going to spread to a parent,
Yeah.
and then it's all over. Okay, then the schools have to deal with it, and all sorts of other bullshit. You know.
I mean, it's all over regardless, because, I mean, she's going to face a maximum of fucking 15 years in federal prison for this shit.
Well, yeah, she basically did a fake terrorist.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, 15 years. I get that. You know,
Like, regardless
But-
of regardless of the outcome of her fucking
the
guilty
kids
plea,
don't-
she's
right, the
fucked.
kids don't need to know about this shit, you know, and by doing something like this, you make sure that the kids know about this shit,
Yes.
you know.
Congratulations, lady. You done fucked up in the most royal of ways, and you've only got yourself to blame.
Have
you heard?
Mrs. Lauro is a terrorist.
Uh-huh.
Congrats. That's gonna be your fucking epitaph on your career as a teacher. Fucking bravo. Well done. I don't know why this affects me so much. Maybe as I said, I had a closer relationship to some of the employees at the school, mostly those in the guidance counselor's office, which is essentially school therapist and whatnot.
I will give you an even better reason why you're probably upset. You want me? I'll take a pot shot.
Go on.
Your mom works at the school district. The envelope could have come to her, and it could have been bad, and your mind knows that.
Fuck, you might be right. Yeah, like this could have happened anywhere, and yeah, fuck, this is Florida. This is fucking Florida.
That's why this bothers me too, because my fiance is an educator, and on top of that, like, yeah, and it's upsetting to me as well. It also, like, when you have that kind of close relationship to that kind of situation, especially in your case, Trade, when it could have happened in your backyard.
Yeah, like I hate it when people who are or were a teacher do not take shit seriously and pull this crap because of a delusion that
A grudge.
or a grudge or anything like that. Teachers go through enough shit as it is, but to have one bad apple amongst them pull this fucking bullshit. And you know what? It only gets fucking worse. This was the penultimate article. We still have one more to go. And this one pisses me off so much. 'Cause this was in my backyard. Or at least in my county. Assault rifle raffle for astronaut high school graduation event sparks outrage and support.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Welcome to the Bermuda Triangle of what the fuck. Let's do some simple math here, students. Gun, school.
Equals no.
Yes! This happened March 30th. Titusville, Florida. Flyers announcing that an assault rifle would be raffled off at a fundraiser for astronaut high school seniors provoked worry and confusion for some parents and glowing support for others over the weekend as news of the prize spread.
Well, of course, it's Florida, and you're raffling off an assault rifle.
At a school.
America.
Because nothing bad with an assault rifle ever happened in a school.
No, not
Ever.
at all. ever.
Not at all. Ever.
The Arma Light style assault rifle was among the items being advertised in the Project Graduation raffle. The news sparked some...
I know exactly what it is then. If it's an
Yep,
Armalite, then it's an AR-15.
AR-15, yep.
The news sparked some parents to ask how raffling a military-style firearm for a school-related function would be appropriate given, I don't know, the deadly mass shootings that have taken place at schools over the years. Just what are we trying to teach? Just what are we teaching our kids? That guns are okay? Absolutely are
Yeah,
not
that's what
okay.
they're trying to do.
This is why people are dying like flies so easily, Kaya Edwards said on the Titusville News Facebook page. Still, overwhelmingly, many parents on social media expressed support for the raffle and said it was an example of people exercising their Second Amendment rights.
Fuck's sake!
Yep. How weak have we become? When I was in school, we had a gun rack with a gun in it in my truck at school, and JROTC used live ammo in the rifle range, said Paul Vaccaro.
The JROTC, motherfucker. You were supposed to be trained by a volunteer military officer.
Yeah, that's actually a subset military action. Okay, so you have a military trained person training you. Okay.
Yeah,
It
you
does
don't
not-
get to walk around with a fucking live firearm.
It's not the fucking Wild
And here's
West
the
where you're
thing.
just like...
Back in the day, you might have been able to keep a loaded gun on the gun rack in the back of your truck. More than likely, it was a single lever action varmint hunting rifle, not a goddamn AR-15.
Yeah, and even if it was a repeater, okay, all right, even if it was a repeater, it didn't have a 30-round mag. Okay, I'm sorry. There's a difference, people. There's a difference between the way these are designed and the standard hunting guns that you get. Okay, and some would argue that that's not true, but it is. Okay, it really is. So,
I also here's my actual question I've got for all of you Second Amendment activists. So let's ignore the whole argument of the interpretation about whether or not it's meant for the militia, which no longer exists. The militias are now the National Guard. So let's ignore that argument because you're not going to listen to me. You're not even going to try. So I'll ask you about another part of that particular of that amendment and one other part of the speech of the wording. Excuse me. The right to bear arms shall not be infringed upon in order to maintain a well-maintained and well-regulated militia. So, if you want us to go by the direct words of the fucking Second Amendment, I think we need to regulate a few things, don't you? If you want us to go by the direct wording, I'm happy to do that.
I wouldn't have been upset if they had said, okay, we're going to give you a certificate, okay, to a gun store. All right? That's different. All right? You want to go down to a gun store and use that certificate or not use that certificate, that's your deal. Okay?
Real quick, I got to head out, guys. I'll see you later. Sorry, I can't stay for the end.
Not a problem, Shirley.
That's okay. Thank you for coming.
Fair enough.
Thank you for the chime as Shirley
I'm
left.
being interrupted. My point is that selling the actual gun shouldn't be allowed. Okay, if they want to sell like a voucher, okay, to go to the gun store and buy X type of gun, fine, do that. Okay, but you shouldn't be selling the actual firearm. Okay, and especially not without some sort of training. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. Well, while Gray and Shirley depart, let me get to the rest of the article real quick. Brevard Public Schools officials have told the fundraiser organizer not to use Astronaut High in their promotional material because the school isn't allowed to organize a raffle, and because the prize is controversial. No shit. This was the judgment of one Russell Brunn, a Brevard Public Schools spokesman. we did direct them to say you can't have Astronaut High School on any type of raffle no matter what, Brun said. We also directed them to pull down any ads that might make people think that the district is part of this. Brun said that Project Graduation was an independent nonprofit that was not officially associated with the school or district and that they could raise funds however they saw fit. But, he added, they cannot use Astronaut High School or Brevard Public Schools to promote their efforts. So this was just a thing that happened on campus, and not once before the gun was brought out did anyone like check them. Like, oh, we're just doing a fundraiser. Okie dokie.
Yeah, no, somebody checked this and green lighted it. Okay, that had to be, otherwise they wouldn't have been on campus. Okay, because there's no way to hide the fact that they're trying to give away a gun. Okay,
Oh.
there is no way to hide that. So somebody in that green light process, somebody in that vetting process, was super pro 2A or just didn't care or whatnot, and allowed them to to greenlight this, and it's like, why would you do this? This is just dumb. This is about the worst publicity you can get as a school under the current conditions.
Okay, let's see. We do not want our school name associated with the raffle, Brun said. We would be doing this even if there was no gun, but we're also a no gun zone, of course. Okay, here's an interesting note. According to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, raffling a firearm is legal as long as the winner is subject to the proper background check and completion of the ATF paperwork. The Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms paperwork. As long as the normal legal process of transferring or selling the weapon is allowed, the raffle would be legal. Future raffles that may involve a firearm should still not feature school names in Brevard County, so says Brun. A project graduation organizer did not return a request for comments as of Monday afternoon.
Because they knew they done fucked up.
Yeah. Should not include school names, period.
No,
okay, I
not at
fixed that
all.
for you.
It's the year 2021. What in your little fucking demented mind made you think that giving a gun to a kid in a school would be peachy keen?
Because America, apparently.
'Cause America.
Yeah. Oh, he might grow up to be a good guy with a gun. That's not how that works.
No. Well, on that note, Christ on a bike. I got angry this episode.
A lot to get angry about.
Yeah, there's a lot to get angry about.
You have every right to.
Fucking Christ. I'm near the precipice. I'm almost at fucking Dr. Farnsworth. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Just fucking...
Well, you can always volunteer for what is that company that says it's going to move people to Mars one way? Is it Mars One? Was that the name of the company? I don't hear much about them anymore. I have to check into that. Well, no, they were going strong. They had funding, and then I didn't hear anything about them anymore. So maybe I'll check into them.
Yeah, maybe. In the meantime, that's it for this episode of Trademark's Trainwreck. Thank you, everybody, for popping in and listening. If you're watching this on the YouTube page, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, all that obligatory YouTube garbage. With me here tonight has been Sherlock, who had to leave early. We also had RandomGreymane.
Hey, how do I get off the train again?
And TheFangirl.
single file and watch your head.
Okay.
That'll do. Once again, thank you for listening to Trademark's Trainwreck, everybody. Our theme song was created by Marivex, and our banner art was created by Court Awesome. You can find their social media, as well as the social media for my co-hosts, and the links for every single one of the articles that we've discussed tonight in the description below. My name is Trademark, and good night.
You're an idiot, Harry.
I'm a what?